Good evening. This is Political Forum for Wednesday, July 8th, 2015. We welcome today our guest, Alderman David Moore of the 17th Ward. Thank you so much for appearing on Political Forum.
Thank you for inviting me.
I'm Teresa Cordova, a board member of CAN TV. This is a live, interactive program brought to you as a community service by CAN TV. We welcome your questions and your comments for Alderman Moore. So please call in 312-738-1060. During the next 25 minutes or so, we'll try to get to as many of your calls as we can. In the meantime, again, welcome Alderman Moore. We're
Thank
so
you.
pleased that you are here.
I'm happy to be here.
We know that you have much to share with your constituents, some announcements about upcoming events, but also maybe you can share a little bit with us about voting, what it means to vote, and what are some of the issues that currently you're dealing with?
Okay, well, number one, if she's just talking about voting, as I'm out there in my community, one of the things I'm educating and teaching them on it to help us not only have a larger voice in our community, but so we also can get more resources in our community. One is your part that you can do is keep your neighborhood clean. Mm-hmm. Keep your block clean. You don't even have to go beyond your block. Just do in front of your house, do your block, keep your block clean. That matters, because a clean community is a safe community, is a working community. Mm-hmm. And then I tell them the second thing I need you to do is vote. I don't care if you vote for me. I don't care if you a Republican in the community. Whatever you do, just vote, because it's important that we get our voting numbers up in our community. And so that ties into even things that we have to do in city council. One of the things I wanted to talk about is how we vote in city council. One of the things we read in the papers that you talk about people who rubber stamp mm-hmm. with the mayor versus people who don't, and all of that. And people then in the headline papers, they say, hey, well, this person voted 70% with the mayor, 80% with the mayor, 90% with the mayor, 100% with the mayor. And people all of a sudden accuse that person of being a rubber stamp voter. I always tell people, if you go to the election poll and one person vote that day, ask them what was the percentage of the people that came out to vote. That's 100%. But you only had one person to come out to vote. So you have to look at the number of things overall. The mayor also introduced ordinances, just like city council members introduce ordinance. And a lot of times he introduced what we call quick and simple ordinances that are important to the community or important to city council, like improve ethics reform. So he may introduce that in city council. You want to vote for that. He may introduce a ordinance legislation, that says for new buildings that's coming online, they use the fire hydrants, they have to pay more. So you'll vote on that. So already that's 2 votes I voted mm-hmm. with the mayor on, and you can say, oh, he's voting 100% with the mayor. Well, those are issues that are critical to us. What I want people to begin to look at is major items that I voted on. Like we just voted on this bond obligation right. deal and everything. And I voted yes on it. Some people voted no. So you judge people by, I think, those big items mm-hmm. That they vote on. We have a municipal depository legislation coming up. These are big items. So I don't want people to get caught up reading the paper that somebody vote a certain mm-hmm. percentage with the mayor. They better look at the votes or the legislation in which people are either voting with the mayor or that they're not voting with the administration on. So I definitely wanted to get that out. So to educate people.
And did you want to say anything at all about that bond obligation deal?
Well, the only thing is we have to, what I didn't get to say in City Council, we have to come up with some revenue. We have to put revenue on the table, and we just can't continue to finance our way out of this and refinance. It's just like you having a house, mm-hmm. and if you're not getting any more revenue to pay your bills and you just keep refinancing, you're really incurring debt and kicking mm-hmm. it down probably for your kids to pay off mm-hmm. later on when you want to leave your kids something. Mm-hmm. And so we don't want to leave our children with a whole bunch of debt mm-hmm. down the road. So we have to think of new revenue sources mm-hmm. so that we can pay our debt off.
Okay. Now, pretty quick here. We have some committeeman elections coming up.
Absolutely.
Do you want to speak a little bit about what the committeeman does and how it differs from the alderman?
Absolutely. There's aldermen and a committeeman, and people sometimes that you'll run, and people say, "Oh, that person is running. Didn't they just run before?" And I thought the committeeman and alderman were the same. Is this person trying to get an extra paycheck and all that? No. The committeeman seat is the political side, and the aldermanic seat is the service side. The alderman serves everyone in the community regardless of political affiliation. That includes Republican, Democrat, or some people don't even get involved because of their religion, do not get involved in the political process at all. So the alderman has to serve all of them. The committeeman, that's the political side, and it's a non-paid position, whereas the aldermanic seat is the paid position. And so the committeeman, so if you got a representative or a congressman who decide they hit the lottery and they decide they do not want to be in that office again, it's the committeeman, not the alderman, who decide who's going to be in that seat next. Or if you want to run for judge or run for a certain seat, it's the committeeman through the Democratic Party that slate you at the county level for certain positions and things like that. So that's why it's important for your alderman also to be committeemen, so that your alderman can have that political power behind them. But it's a non-paid position, but it's a seat that most aldermen hold. So when you see it, but it is a difference. Not all the time are the aldermen a committeeman. Most time, Secretary of State Jesse White was committeeman for years, and State Representative Mike Madigan, he's not an alderman, but he's the state rep, and he's the committeeman.
Okay.
Yeah.
We have a caller.
Okay.
Hi, caller.
Yep.
Welcome to Political
Yeah,
Forum.
good evening to y'all. Good evening to David Moore. David Moore, you know Rod Manuel, right?
Yes.
Okay, now, and Gary McCarthy, right? Why they always get in front of the media and say they got the guns off the street? It's been violent all this week. When Harold Washington was mayor, it was not like this David Moore. When Mayor Daley was mayor, and it was like this. Then when Harold Washington was mayor, it was not like this. And now Rod Manuel is back mayor again, 4 more years. And then they try to make themselves look good. Rod Manuel, Gary McCarthy. And then they get in front of me talking about they got all the guns off the street. And more violence, David Moore.
And is there a question in that, sir?
Yeah. Hello?
Yeah. Is there a question there?
Okay, why Rod Manuel get in front of the media always talk about the guns off the street, him and Gary McCarthy? And then more shooting over the weekend, 4th of July.
So obviously people are concerned about the issues around violence and crime, and you've done things over the years to address some of this. What's
Absolutely. I've worked in my community for years. We've shut down drug houses. We've helped to get guns off the street. And to what he's saying, that it wasn't like that in the Harold Washington days, I beg to differ. That the murder numbers were actually higher. I think the shootings are up during these times, but actually during the time, because I was going to high school then, and I've done my research and I've gone back, you were looking at 600 and 800 murders a year at that time. So murders were up, and what's going on now, more shootings are up. So therefore, that's because there's a proliferation of guns that are out there, and we have to find ways to make sure that these guns are not consistently getting in the hands of the wrong people. And I think that's what the mayor is constantly out there speaking about. So I don't object to the mayor getting out there and speaking about it, but I do feel that we have to work hard to find some solutions to this.
We have another caller. Good evening, caller.
Hi, yeah, I read about this group of moms in Englewood who have been patrolling their neighborhood and trying to fight violence. I kind of wondered, what do you think about this effort? Is it something that you're supporting and trying to spread throughout your area?
Yes, I've met one of them. They're around in the Englewood area. I've met one of the founders of it. I was just at a CAPS meeting the other day, and she came up and introduced herself to me. And I've been having this discussion, and I am a big proponent of mothers getting involved. Women create life. Women are Mother Earth. And it's important, and as you see in a lot of cases, that a lot of mothers have the power. And it's unfortunately that that when there's an absence of sometimes a male figure, that mother have to step up, or sometimes she may be in relation with a lot of these gentlemen that are doing this stuff. And I think it's important that as a woman, you do not allow certain men to do things, number one, around your children or in your household, and more women, and they'll recognize that this group is recognizing that they can control more of this by raising their voices more instead of marching after the fact, after the child get killed and stuff like that. And so when it's like anything else in the household, when mama stand up, a lot of things get in order, and so, but at the same time, the presence of men in our community, I know on our block, we're very active and we don't have none of these problems because it makes a difference when men are present to stand with our mothers. But when mothers who control and raise these sons say, hey, stop this, I'm turning you in, then a lot of things began to a lot of crime get decreased, and I think they've recognized that. So I applaud them for what they're doing.
I want to remind you that you're watching Political Forum here on CAN TV, and you can call in and speak with Alderman David Moore at 312-738-1060. You also have been interfacing with women in your ward around Green Tech Camp
Absolutely.
And Community Gardens. Do you want to speak a little bit about that?
I am so excited about this summer program we've put together along with Janella Curtis in the Green Tech Camp. She's working with a young lady by the name of Maisha Williams. And these ladies are doing great things with green technology, doing things with community gardening and teaching our children how to code. So we've employed over 35, close to 40 students this summer, and partnered with the Maria Coppola Center, with the Marquette Park, where they will have their community garden center, with the Maria Catalyst School, who are allowing us to use the school to have the computers to do the coding. So it's been a great partnership. I'm just so excited that our youth are getting exposed to things that they've never been exposed to, and they're going to be taking trips to different farms and everything to learn more about gardening and growing vegetables and things like that. But the coding aspect of it from the computer standpoint and the technology standpoint is just awesome. And so Maisha Williamson is working on that along with Janella Curtis, and I'm just excited right now for that program.
Well, you also have a big event coming up in August, right?
Absolutely. This is the first time, this Convoy of Hope, they're an international organization that does great service through whether it's through community service or when there are disasters that's going on throughout the world. They come and help people. And this is their first time doing this event in Chicago. I am so excited. They're expecting 15 to 20,000 people on August 22nd at Marquette Park. And so it's part of a whole back to school initiative as well, where they'll be giving out free groceries, free school supplies. There'll be a kids play zone, free health screenings, free haircuts, breast health service exam, entertainment, all of that. They're expecting 15 to 20,000 people. But if you're a person that also like to volunteer, we're looking for volunteers that day. We'll need over 170 volunteers. That there are over 175. So if you're interested in volunteering, definitely call 708-246-2780. That's 708-246-2780. Or call my office at 773-783-3672 to get involved in for volunteering or to learn more about the event on August 27th. I'm excited about it.
August 26th.
August
22nd.
August 22nd.
Yeah,
yes.
not 26th.
Yes.
Okay. Good, and that's an all-day event.
That's an all-day event. 10 a.m. It's probably end around 6 or 7. Absolutely.
Okay. Great. We have another caller. Hello, caller. You're on the air.
Hi. Thank you. I know that the city is having some budget issues, and I just want to know your thoughts on ways that we can increase revenue in the city.
Yes. That's a great idea. First, let me start with this. This problem is more than a city problem. When you look around, this is an urban problem throughout the country. And I always say this, and I said this when I was running. Whoever becomes president next, and I was pushing it even during the last, when the President Obama was running, we have to come up with a urban plan, just like they did with the Marshall Plan in Europe. And we have to come up with an urban plan where there are communities where there's high unemployment and high crime, and put an infrastructure plan together to rebuild our communities, and that will put people back to work, and that will put more money in our communities and help us more money from a financial standpoint at the city levels, where we're not always burden the little people. So you need that economic development brings more jobs, hire more people, buying more homes, more people paying on the roll, paying taxes, than putting more of the tax burden on the little person. So that's a key issue that has to happen nationally. At the local level, what I believe has to happen, we have to look at the financial transaction tax. These are traders who's doing hedge fund trading, high volume, high speed transactions. And when we're talking about a little money, anywhere from 50 cents to 25 cents on every $100, a high volume, high speed transaction, we need to be going downstate asking this governor to change that legislation that would allow the city of Chicago to push that legislation, because it has to be changed at the state level first before we're able to push it through at the city level. And that can cover a lot. Immediately, instead of raising taxes on the few that put it on the backs of the least of them, along with fines and fees like red light cameras, speed light cameras, all that hurt the little people. And so people have to begin to pay their fair share. And trust me, they can afford it. And it's a difference when a woman has to go into the grocery store and her son is begging for some cereal, and she's about to buy the cereal. Then she look down and see a hole in his shoe, and she look across. She has to make a choice between buying cereal and shoes and trying to keep her home, versus someone who's standing there. You're talking about only 50 cents on every $100 of high-speed, high-volume transaction, and they're standing in the line and saying, wait, because they asked me for 50 cents on every $100, I have to choose between getting a 50-foot yacht and a 45-foot yacht. That's a difference, and that's what it boils down to, you all. And so they are threatening to leave the city and all that, but trust me, they're not going to leave, because it'll cost them more to leave than for them to just pay that 50 or 25 cents. And it's very important that we get that type of revenue.
Is there an effort to create that state enabling legislation?
It's something that I think we're talking about. Several people are talking about in city council, and it has to be done at the state level first. But I think it needs to be pushed at the state level, not only by the council members, but by the administration as well.
Great. Good. Well, that would certainly generate revenue, wouldn't it?
It generate a lot of revenue.
And the numbers have been done. They've been crunched on that?
The numbers have been crunched. There's evidence that support it, and you can phase it out over time. You know. But right now we're in a crisis, and I just don't think we should be continuing to put it on the backs of the least of them right now. And so even if you raise property taxes, someone that has a $275,000 house may have to pay $275, where somebody that have a $150,000 house may have to pay $100 more, or something like that. But that $100 to someone who's only making $20,000 or $30,000 a year versus somebody making $200,000 a year having to pay extra $275 is not that major. So
let alone $2 million. Let alone making $2 million.
Absolutely. So it's not about equal giving as much as it is about equal sacrifice. You know, it's just like when you go to church. When you pay your 10% in tithes, you know, my 10% may only make $100 a week. So that's $10 versus you making $50,000, you know, a week. So it may not be equal giving, but it's equal sacrifice and equal sharing.
You know, there's a lot of talk now about issues around income inequality and the disparities in wealth and so on. Is that something that, I mean, based on what you said, that does seem to be something that's very important to you. It's an important
It's
issue.
very important to me, and I'm very passionate about it, mainly because what it begins to do when you're not articulating it right, unfortunately in our communities, it becomes a battle between white versus black, and they try to take you off of the issue when it's really an issue between the haves and the have-nots. Whether you're black or whether you're white, this is what this has become. This is what it has become. The have-nots, and many of us are in the same boats. And if it hasn't been shown before, it was definitely proven under this governor's when he did cuts, because you see many people from all different races now coming out screaming and holler, and before it was usually just one race or a couple of races being impacted by this, but now more people are impacted by it.
So if there's Medicaid cuts, for example, how do you think that would impact people in your ward?
Any Medicaid cuts will always impact people negatively. You know, I met a lady yesterday. I'm trying to investigate it even more. She said she's paying, I forgot the dollar amount that she has to pay for Obamacare. It wasn't a lot that she pay a month. I think it was like $8.50 based on her income. But she's going to the hospital. And they said if I have surgery though, the surgery is going to cost me $5,000. So I can't have the surgery because I can't afford the $5,000. I'm like, what? So I got my office looking into that now. I'm not going to let that lady sit up there, and she's a senior, not being able to get a surgery done because she don't have $5,000. When before, you know, you can go to the county and get everything taken care of, and if you pay according to what you had. So I don't think we should be taking a step back. We should be moving forward.
Well, and you mentioned that you provide services to your constituents, and I want to point out here that folks can find you at 7313 South Ashland.
Right, that is our temporary area
You're going to
address.
be moving, right?
We'll be moving, and hopefully we'll be at our permanent address. My constituents are going to get a call, which is going to be at 1344 West 79th Street. So we hope to be up and running there by definitely the beginning of August, if not sooner. But right now we're at 7313 South Ashland. That's our temporary location.
And they can
now.
reach you at that number, 773
783 3672.
We have another caller. Hello?
Alderman, I gotta be quick. Do you think it's possible for the city council to quit looking at property tax as the ATM machine?
I want them to. I want them to. You saying is it possible? Let me tell people this. The people have the power. If you sit back and allow it. Mom always told me, keep it simple. People only treat you the way you allow them to treat you. So you can have a person like me and a couple of other people that are in city council that may be fighting back against a property tax increase in terms of, or you may have to have one, but yet still bring some other revenue so that the increase would not be so major if you're putting some other revenue ideas on the table as well. But it is the people that moves government, not the government that moves people. So when you say is it possible that the city council, you are the city council because you elected the people, and so you pushed your alderman to oppose anything that you don't like, and that's how I am. I listen to my residents.
Well, part of your point is that if there's financial tax transaction or taxes on financial transactions, the high speed, high volume, then you don't need to keep going to the property taxes.
You wouldn't need to keep going. You wouldn't have to go to them at all. You wouldn't even have to go to them at all. And we're talking about 50 cents on every $100 of high speed, high volume transaction, which would even benefit the regular investor, because by the time you find out about it, the stock price has risen because they got their high speed transactions and stuff like that you can't afford it, which that tax wouldn't apply to you. You know.
Well, we are very happy that you have been here with us this evening, Alderman Moore.
I'm excited.
I want to remind folks this has been the Political Forum, and this is brought to you as a community service from CAN TV, Chicago's public access television. We're very, very proud of CAN TV's work and our service, and want to remind folks that if they want to produce and put something on TV, they certainly have the ability to do that. So, want to again thank you, Alderman Moore.
Thank you so much.
You may
I'm
have
humbly
some.
honored.
Great. You have any parting words or comments you want to make?
I would say it, and I repeat this over and over. First of all, the people have the power. Don't elect people and then you put your power down. exercise your power by pushing your legislator, and they will listen to you. And also keep your community clean and vote. Keep your community clean and vote. It does matter.
Great. Those are great words to end. Thank you so much for joining us. Again, stay tuned for CAN TV for other great programming. Thank you. Good night. I'm Teresa Cordova with CAN TV's Board of Directors.